Question number 176. Choose the incorrect statement. And the very first statement says, increasing frequencies of contraction during parturition are controlled by release of stored oxytocin from maternal neurohypophysis. And this is a correct statement because we know that it is hypothalamus which secretes oxytocin and it is stored in posterior pituitary. And during parturition, during the birth of the baby, this oxytocin has been released from the maternal neurohypophysis. And this oxytocin release will initiate a positive feedback effect and thereby increasing its own concentration and increasing the frequency of contractions in the uterus. Option number 2 is autocrine activity of milk inhibitory peptide during lactation postpartum can decrease milk secretions from mammary glands, and this is a correct option because this milk inhibitory peptide will keep check on the secretion of milk when the stimulus is not there. When the suckling effect or suckling stimulus is not there in the mammary gland, this peptide will keep the milk secretions in check or under regulation. The third option is colostrum can be described as first milk from breast that is yellowish in color and rich in minerals, lactose, fats and iron. And this is an incorrect statement because colostrum is low in fats and iron. So this is an incorrect statement. Fourth statement is cortisol released during pregnancy readies the fetal lungs for outside world, and this is a correct option because cortisol accelerates the maturation of fetal lungs and also help in the secretion of surfactants. Also help in the production of surfactants. So the correct answer is option number 3. Let's proceed to the next question. Question number 177. Event not associated with follicular phase of ovary is. Now before proceeding for this question, we must understand that what are the events occurring in the follicular phase. Now, menstrual phase is followed by the follicular phase, during which this primary follicle in ovary grow to become a matured Graafian follicle, and simultaneously the endometrium of uterus regenerates through proliferation, and this is proliferative phase which is occurring in the uterus. Now these changes occurring in the ovary as well as in the uterine wall are induced by the changes in the levels of hormones released from the pituitary gland as well as from the ovary itself. The secretion of gonadotropins, that is LH and FSH, they increases gradually during the follicular phase and stimulate the follicular development of the growing follicle as well as the secretion of estrogen by these growing follicles. As estrogen levels continues to rise, this elevated estrogen levels provide a positive feedback effect on the anterior pituitary to release LH, and this causes LH surge at the mid of this cycle, and this will lead to the release of ovum and causes ovulation. Now coming to the question, the first option is rise in level of gonadotropin FSH, and this is the correct option because secretion of gonadotropin increases during the follicular phase of ovary. The second option is repair of endometrial lining in uterus, and this is an incorrect option because this event occurs in the proliferative phase and it occurs in the uterus and not in the ovary. Our third option is positive feedback by estrogen in later part of this phase increases LH levels, and this is a correct option. The last option is release of inhibin by granulosa cells, and we know that FSH that is follicular stimulating hormone, will stimulate the release of inhibin from the granulosa cells of ovarian follicle in ovary. And this inhibin in turn will inhibit anterior pituitary, thereby inhibiting the release of FSH. So the fourth option is a correct option. And so the correct answer for this question is option number 2. Let's proceed to the next question. Question number 178. Read the characters given below and select the option that correctly describes the human placenta at 26 weeks of pregnancy and at birth. So you have to find out the characteristic features of human placenta at 26 weeks of pregnancy and at birth. Now let's see the characteristic features of human placenta. The human placenta is allentochorionic placenta. That means placenta is formed by extraembryonic membranes called allentoic membrane and chorionic membrane. These two extraembryonic membranes forms the human placenta. In humans, hemochorial placenta is present, which consists of only 3 barriers of the fetal side, and this fetus is directly dipped in the mother's blood. And these 3 barriers consist of fetal endothelial, fetal connective tissue, and chorionic epithelial cells. Human placenta is of deciduous type. Deciduous is a part of uterine tissue which is detached and passed out at birth. And this type of placenta is known as deciduous placenta. And human placenta is metadiscoidal type. In the options, the first type is allentochorionic, and yes, humans have allentochorionic type of placenta. Humans also possesses hemochorial type of placenta, and it is characterized as deciduous as well as metadiscoidal type. The next option given is decidua paritalis. What is decidua paritalis? Endometrium after implantation is temporarily known as decidua. And this decidua is divided into 3 parts: decidua basilis, decidua capsularis, and decidua paritalis. This decidua basilis contributes to form placenta. Decidua capsularis covers the blastocyst, whereas the last layer forms the remaining endometrium lining of the uterus. So this decidua paritalis doesn't contribute to placenta. Thus, it is not a character of human placenta. And the last type is diffuse. So we know that initially the human placenta is of diffuse type, but later on it will become discoidal. So the correct answer is option number 1. That is A, B, C and D are the correct options. Option number 1 is a correct answer. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 179. Which of the following is not true for HCG in a pregnant female? We have already discussed that what is HCG? HCG stands for human chorionic gonadotropin. Human chorionic gonadotropin. And this is released from placenta. Initially, in the initial trimesters, it is the trophoblast cells which will release HCG. and this HCG will maintain high levels of progesterone and estrogen. Later on, when the placenta gets established, this function of trophoblast to release HCG is taken up by placenta. So later on, placenta releases HCG. Now let's read the options. First option is, it is a proteinaceous gonadotropin but not released from adenohypophysis. This is a correct option because this HCG is released from either placenta or trophoblast and not from adenohypophysis, and it is a proteinaceous gonadotropin. So the second option is, maximum level of HCG are observed during first trimester, and this is a correct statement because during the first trimester it is this trophoblast cells which will secrete these HCG at higher levels. Third option is Prega News, a home pregnancy kit developed by Mankind Pharmaceuticals, relies on detection of HCG in urine, and this is a correct option because it is the detection of this HCG which is released during the first trimester in urine, which will indicate the detection of pregnancy. Fourth option is, high levels of HCG directly exert negative feedback on hypothalamus, leading to amenorrhea during pregnancy, and this is an incorrect statement because HCG bypass the hypothalamic pituitary axis and it itself increases or stimulates corpus luteum to increase the progesterone levels, and this increase in progesterone levels will lead to maintenance of the endometrium and amenorrhea condition. So the correct answer is option number 4. Let's write it here as well. Let's proceed to the next question. Question number 180. Read the given statements and choose the option which assign them as true or false correctly. And the very first option given is, cleavage in human is slow, asynchronous, rotational, indeterminate and holoblastic, and this is a correct statement. The second statement is, day of ovulation is 24th in a woman whose menstrual cycle is of 48 days. Now, how to calculate the day of ovulation? Is equal to menstrual cycle minus 14 days. So, it will become 48 minus 14 equals to 34 and not 24. So, this is an incorrect statement. Third statement is, layer of theca cells makes its earliest appearance at secondary stage oocyte, and this is a correct option. And the last statement is, mammary glands are apocrine, endocrine glands whose alveoli synthesize milk under increased levels of progesterone during pregnancy, and this is an incorrect statement because mammary glands are duct glands. These are ducted glands and are exocrine glands and not endocrine glands. So for this question we have first as true, second as false, third as true and fourth as false. So the correct answer is option number 2. So with this question, I would like to end up the discussion of this AIATS paper. I hope all the queries and doubts have been cleared regarding this question paper. Keep learning and exploring, and thank you very much for watching.